All right. So, at the risk of breaking my vow of not discussing captain skills till next week, I did want to just do something for the low tier. Believe it or not, I actually got some Twitch messages from people saying every time I go watch somebody, all they talk about is stuff for their Zao, and I don't even know what a Zao is. So I thought maybe we'd bring it back to reality here for us normal players, and just look at some captain skills for low tier battleships. Nothing higher than that.
Can I make a comment, Kevin?
Certainly.
Are you trying to show off your 828,000 elite commander XP?
No, I was actually trying to see if we agreed on the setup for a Kawachi, but because I can't hide that. And besides that, it was 1,000,000 yesterday. I used some of it.
Thanks.
Rub
it in.
I used some of it.
Yes.
Yeah, that's. I had no idea. I didn't know. So I guess having some 18-point captains has helped. But can we have just a real quick discussion about Lake Kawachi, which is showing up? Which now, first of all, can we assume that for tier 3 through say 5 battleships are pretty much going to be the same? Would that be a fair statement?
Pretty much, minus the Texas, which I would definitely take basic firing training for the added AA.
Okay.
I think I would take that over the fire, but it's again your call.
All right, so if someone starts out with a South Carolina, and again, we have to go back to basics here because I'm trying to address the people that are starting the game or are still at low tiers. So they started the South Carolina. Obviously, there'll be a point in time. Well, that was redundant. There'll be a point that they get to where they're going to have to change the setup. They're going to have to redistribute the points. One of them would be for the Texas, like you just mentioned. But for, say, tier 3, 4, this is pretty much as they build up their captain skills. This is pretty much what I'm trying to get to is this is pretty much what they're going to do for the average battleship, regardless of nationality. For tier, say, 3, 4, and maybe 5 with excluding ships like the Texas.
Yeah, you might want to skip the expert marksman just because the amount of gun speed traverse time is almost negligible. I'd rather save the points to get that survivability on the tier 3.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right, yeah, because this is only an 8-point captain, so I tried to pick a low point captain.
No, I got you.
All right, so if you don't use expert marksman and you have 8 points, what would you do with those 2 points left?
I mean, at a lack of options, it's reload time of consumables.
Okay.
The jack of all trades. I mean,
which is right next to it.
Yeah. Everybody's going to differ, but I would go survivability, especially for beginners and whatnot.
Which brings up an excellent point, because the one thing that all battleship people at tiers 3, 4, 5, and 6 have in common is what? Damage. That's the only thing they take, right? They make a mistake, push in too deep, and they take damage. So my thought was, and now that I see it, I probably would have gone with Jack of all trades if I had actually looked at it for a moment. But yeah, my thought is to take whatever you can to reduce damage. For 4, 3, 4, 5, maybe after 5 when you start learning how to angle and not go in, push too hard, maybe then you can start, like with the Texas. Go with its specialties.
It's not even the angling. It's just the HE and fire spam that you're going to take, regardless of what tier it is. You're going to take it from DDs and cruisers and other battleships and whatnot. It doesn't matter. Starting tier 4, you get planes that are going to get bombed on you and flooding and stuff. You're going to need that extra repair time and stuff to reduce the amount of damage and time you're burning and flooding and whatnot.
Amen. All right. And
I mean,
now
I've proven that to you just in the amount of fires you set on me in one game.
Yeah, there you go. Makes sense. All right, so had I bothered to use Ship Comrade's wonderful captain skill arrangement here, which
plug,
yeah, #sal. Had I bothered to use this one that you can find on Ship Comrade, link below the stream, #sellout, then let's go through it. So we want to do preventative maintenance because that helps with the modules on the first line. High alert, which is damage control. Jack of all trades, which is damage control. So that leaves you. Oh wait, I picked way too many points. I should only have 3 left. Okay. So now we have 3 points left. Third line, basics of survivability.
I would take that over BFT for beginners. It's either that or take the superintendent to get that extra heal. You know, and that's play style. Which one you find more relevant to you?
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, that's going to be a personal choice thing. Personally, I would go for superintendent because it gives you 1 additional charge. So if you're going to take 15% damage, at least you'll have another chance to repair it.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so here we are with 0 points left. And now you can go ahead and save this, thanks to Ship Comrades build URL save here, #sellout, and put it on your battleship. I really do suggest anybody, regardless of tier, this is a great thing to see whether your points add up without having to do the math and come up with different combinations of things that you might want to try. Like I've got 2 tier 5 battleships set up right now. One of them has the HEAP, and the other one doesn't. Just to experiment and see whether it really makes any difference. But this is really a helpful tool. And, you know, me being a tool, I understand what helpful tools are. All right, so should I redistribute this or just stick with it? I mean, I don't really.
With the 8 points, I mean, it's
yeah.
You know, I would honestly save those extra couple points and not take 2 on the tier 2. And just save it, you know, and use the commander XP boost and stuff, and try to get another, you know, that way you can have the survivability and the superintendent on tier 3, because the tier 3 and tier 4 skills, they're more prevalent to battleships than all but one of the tier 1s and majority of the tier 2s.
Gotcha.
They're kind of junk to me.
All right, now let's say you have. Well, a lot of people are going to have 10-point captains, so let me drop them. Right now, let's talk about a cruiser. Your average tier 3, 4, 5 cruiser, like Taz asked in chat.
Let me set one up while we're going through this anyway.
Yeah, and Spork and Ferret, feel free to jump in.
Well, I know for cruisers and DDs, that adrenaline rush is pretty powerful. I mean, for every 1%, tier 2, right next to Last Stand.
All right, and Bruce, let me stop you right there. Bruce, I understand that. You're stating the obvious, though. I understand it depends on the ship. What we're looking for here is a compromise arrangement for cruisers, so that a brand new player that has a low number of skill points can pick something to start off with. So, you know, he doesn't look at this airplane and say, oh man, this will help me with my, you know, spotting aircraft I have on my tier 5 battleship. All right, so it's things like that we want to look at. All right. So I understand what you're saying. It really does depend on the ship, but I'm looking for low tier, before people know what they're doing type skills. Okay? Cool. Oh, Ship Comrade. That's even better. All right, so let's get back to an average low tier cruiser, you know, and I'm talking 3, 4, 5 in that range. Even 2. I mean, I assume it'll work for all of them. So what do we want on the first line? And again, what are you trying to accomplish? Are you trying to accomplish the attack side or the endurance side on a cruiser?
I really like the expert loader, just because cruisers actually switch ammo types more frequently.
Where that is?
It's the third one.
Oh, there it is. So everyone ready to roll their clocks back 300 years tonight? What are you talking about, 90210? Oh, come on, man. Oh, politics? Really? Save it, buddy. Okay. Ferret, speak to me.
I like putting preventative maintenance on just about everything. I mean, minus 30% to your module incapacitation is pretty darn big.
All right. Well, again, we have 10 points, so yeah, we can do that. Yeah, based on what I've seen with the higher tier, the Flamus of the world, and even the General Dorts of the world, that seems to be pretty standard. Yeah, this one and the one next to it, priority target, but more so the preventative maintenance.
I like that. I put priority target on one of my destroyers last night, and I like that because even though I was spotted, there was nobody looking at me, so it's not so of a oh crap moment.
Yeah, I happen to agree with you, Papa.
I didn't think I was going to use it, but I threw it on the Grimmy and tried it out, and I was like, oh crap, I like that.
Yeah, I've been putting priority target on everything, but then again, it's because I'm trying. I think I've learned a little bit how to stop getting crapped on quickly. Okay, so far we have priority target, which we can agree on. Anything else on line 1?
Not really.
Mm-mm.
All right, what about incoming fire alert? Because somebody's going to ask that question.
I think if you're in Omaha, it's a good one.
That's really if you're really new, that can be good. But it's more or less you need to really have more situational awareness because if you're spotted, somebody's gonna shoot at you. So you just have to keep an eye on. I mean, I think it's a waste of a point, honestly.
Well, I do too. Primarily because if you're on a tier 4 battle, and you're in your Wyoming, or someone else is in a Wyoming shooting at you, rather, you have to count that 6 seconds. It's not going to warn you unless the target is more than 6 seconds. And it's kind of hard for a Wyoming to put a shell up in the air for 6 seconds and you not notice there's something going on. So yeah, I think that's probably better for the higher tiers maybe. Okay, so and Zanuit says incoming fire alert is a crutch. Yeah, learn bad habits. I'm not going to disagree with you on that one. All right, so now we move to the second level. And again, we can go back and fill in if we have leftover points. That's the beauty of this Ship Comrade system. Hashtag not sellout. All right, so what do we want to do on the second line?
Expert marksman.
Dun, 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 dun. All right, can we agree on that?
Yeah, I'll go with that.
It just makes it a lot easier because being a cruiser, you have to be able to turn your guns fast enough to target at multiple targets.
Okay.
Well, I look at cruisers that, they're not destroyers, so they're not sneaky, they're not battleships, they can't tank stuff, so you just need to focus on what you have left, really, and that's your attack possibilities. So, put everything into guns and armaments and whatnot, and pretty much anything that's survivability-wise kind of blow it off to a point.
Okay. All right. Well, the beauty of this is we can click it and then, unclick it later if we want. Spork, really? Uninstall? Really?
Oh, you wanted to know what to do for carriers?
No. All right, no name, I'm sorry. All right, what do I do for carriers? Uninstall the game. Well, okay. All right, unfortunately, no name. None of us that are in Discord right now are really good with carriers, but okay. All right, so we have expert marksman. We have 7 points left. Now, what would be another? Do we want to move to the third row, or is there something that someone should absolutely have on the second row, depending on the points they have?
I think anything taken on more than 2 in the second tier is wasteful, but that's my opinion.
Okay,
there's just
Barrett,
not
Sport?
many up there.
Yeah, that's
like
the only
I said,
one I have.
that adrenaline rush is becoming pretty powerful. If you're gonna, because it's 0.2% for every 1% of hit point you lose.
Yeah, I'm going to experiment with that. Yeah, I'm going to experiment with that because I think if you're in a destroyer particularly, and like most of the time we end up with almost 0 health left, that could be important, very important.
But honestly, for cruisers now, I believe that getting demo expert on the third tier is that's gigantic for most cruisers.
Okay.
Yeah.
But is superintendent a given regardless? Yay or nay?
If they have smoke, yes. If you have a heal, I would say so. Other than that, if you only have like hydro and defensive fire and blah blah blah, I don't think it's really that prevalent.
Okay. Okay, so what do we want to do? Demo? I mean, is that a given? Or not?
Yeah. For a cruiser, yeah.
Barrett? Rob? Papa?
Which one?
It depends on the cruiser.
All right, but
in general, not the special cases.
In general, yeah, demo's really good. If you don't like torps, vigilance, so you could just for survival.
Okay.
Please don't teach low-tier cruiser players to shoot torps.
Yeah,
Faster.
please. Yeah. Let's let that happen later.
No, like if you're scared of torps, vigilance, so you see torps sooner, so you don't get torped.
Oh, I thought you were talking about the reload speed.
No.
Oh, okay. All right. So let's go with demo then. And again, this is for just a standard build, 10-point captain, and now we're down to 4 points left.
I'd go concealment.
Definitely concealment.
Concealment. I'll buy that. I think that's good for just about anything.
I mean, not really much. Unless you're trying to go, the AA build or something like that.
Yeah.
Down low, there's not really much left down there's really worthy of the 4 points.
Yeah, it's either the manual AA or concealment.
Okay,
Yeah.
and again, what we're doing here is tier 5-ish, maybe not even that high, but basic, low tier, average setup, no specialty ships. We're not. Obviously, you might want to do something different. Well, let's say somebody has a St. Louis, and they happen to have a 10-point captain. Would what we've just done work for that fine?
I would have changed the first skill to the awareness.
The priority target one.
Yeah, priority target. Because, man, that helps to let you know that you're about to get focused hard. You should run away and do something else.
Yeah, I've actually been using that one, and I like it.
I didn't think it was going to be good at first, but yeah, it's really good. I mean, if you're charging in, sometimes you don't know that there's guys on your left when you're looking on the right targeting you. It lets you know that number climbs to like 5 and 6. You're like, get out. Everybody's focusing. You run away.
Mm-hmm. All right, something like on a St. Louis, I don't think the expert marksman would be one. I happen to agree with. I don't know who just said that in chat. I mean, that might be one where you want to go with, with something else on that line.
Adrenaline rush is really good. I'm starting to really like that skill.
Yeah. Well, that seems to be popular. So if you wanted to do, of course, I can't take it out now, but
I put that on a battleship. Holy crap!
Yeah.
Oh, I put it on my Frederick. Oh my God.
Well, again, I'm going to experiment with this on destroyers because, I mean, how many times have you been in a destroyer? You're down to, 500 health or 1,000 health. And if you could just shoot a tiny bit faster or reload your torps a tiny bit faster, this does everything. And by the time you get down to that low health, that's a pretty good percentage increase.
Can you imagine that on a freaking German battleship who already reload time is actually faster than all the other ones anyway?
It doesn't affect your secondary, so only torps and main armament.
Right.
But it says all types of armament.
All types of armament.
All types.
Yeah. They were, I guess, I think that was today they were talking about it on Reddit. It doesn't affect your secondary.
I gotta look at that.
Hey, Dort. I know Clat's been experimenting with that. Is that true? Does that increase in reload affect secondaries as well?
Oh yeah, that's right. What Swole said is right. It doesn't affect your AA. I thought is what they were talking about on Reddit.
Oh, it says it will affect AA and secondaries. Okay, General Dort says yes, and AA.
Okay.
So it improves everything.
Everything. It goes everything.
It improves everything. Okay. Dort.
Yo, man, it's going to do this and everything else.
Watch these magic fingers do everything.
There's for a cruiser, just kind of a basic setup. And again, for like a St. Louis, give up expert marksman and go with the repair. Or something similar to that, jack of all trades, whatever. But something other than expert marksman. All right, now let's limit this to a low tier destroyer, like maybe up through 4. Let's talk destroyers here. All right, and this is going to be probably a 10-point captain as well, maybe. I don't know. It's going to, well, you can get to 10 points pretty easily. Yeah. All right, we're going to do
a lot
that
of people
now.
probably also got 10-point captains with the ships that they got from the presents.
Right, exactly. Big Flame Fuse, thanks so much for the follow. Okay, so let's go with a destroyer. All right, we just did. Hey, Bob, thanks for the host, man. All right, so destroyer. Now, this is where I'm going to start disagreeing with our infamous fellow in Europe. Preventative maintenance, I think, is cool, but I still think priority target is the best thing to do for a low-tier destroyer.
After using it last night, I agree.
Rob, you agree?
Say again.
Never. Pay attention, Rob. Priority target for a low-tier destroyer. Okay. All right. Then we move to this. Let's just move to the second line because we only have a 10-point captain. Last stand for me, definitely.
Yes, last stand. Yes.
Anytime you're in a destroyer, definitely last stand. All right. Now, again, we can come back and fill in if we have anything left over. All right. Now, this is where it starts getting a little crazy because let's say you're in a Clemson. Well, actually, maybe this doesn't. Maybe this applies to any of the up through tier 4. Third line, would you go with torpedo armament or basics of survivability? Then you have basic fire training. I mean, there's a lot of good choices on this line, depending on IJN versus American.
Only tier 3?
Yeah, tier 3, 4 at the most.
Torpedo armament or demolition?
Yeah, see, I was, having grown up the Japanese line, I would say basic fire training. But how much would that help, say, a tier 3 Campbelltown or a tier 4 Clemson?
The reload time is nice because BFT doesn't extend your range only on secondary, only on AA for BFT.
All right, so let's assume for a moment, and Rob, again, this is for the average player, right?
I think if you're more of a torp boat, I would take the torp arm.
Yeah,
Right,
I would take torp
boat.
armament if you're torper. If you're a gunner, take the BFT, basic fire.
Okay, so basically,
or demo expert, I think. Huh?
Yeah,
I like demo expert though. Like, I mean, the reload. You're a destroyer. You reload short anyway. I increase those fires. It's just me though.
All right, so either way, if you're IJN or U.S. or Russian, your choice. I mean, to me, the torpedo armament would be better if you're IJN. If any of the other ones, let's go with basic fire training. So let's assume that we're not in an IJN. All right, now this is where it gets a little crazy. We have 4 points left. We have a choice to go to the third line, to the fourth line, and pick something, or get superintendent.
They can sell it for destroyers huge.
Yeah, what do we think? Dort, you still here? I mean, I know you're a battleship dude mainly, but
Swole is.
Oh, Swole's here. Okay. Okay, Swole, what do you think? Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, on the superintendent, I agree. When you're in a tier 2, 3, 4, generally you don't live long enough to where you use up all your all your stuff. But all right, so there's an interesting one. You would say this the smokescreen expert? Are you talking about, or would you do concealment? Since we have 4 points left. All right, Swole says consumables. So we're looking at superintendent then. All right, let's go with what Mr. Swole wants to do here. All right, so far we have concealment would be one way. And, I don't know. At a tier 3, I don't think people pay enough attention to concealment. I mean, I do now. Papa does now. So does Rob. But the average tier 3 player isn't watching his concealment as closely as he should. So let's assume for a moment that we go back to a basic setup for a new player. All right, he's not going to live long enough to use superintendent. Oh, right. If you use premium consumables, then the superintendent's a waste. All right, so let's say that we go with concealment expert. That finishes out the build. But let's say we don't. Again, let's give the average player a choice. Radio positioning is out, as far as I'm concerned. I used it last night as an experiment, and it just didn't seem to matter.
I feel like that's an entirely waste of points.
Yeah. Personally, I would do what Swole says, yeah, or what Three Eternal Dam says. This is where you start getting back to where maybe expert marksman would be good. All right, if you're getting in a round fight with another destroyer where your guns can't keep up. I mean, hell, that happens to me in tier 7s for that matter. But again,
not having expert marksman on the DD is really, it hurts.
Mm-hmm. All right, so I just added expert marksman. So that leaves us with 2. I mean, we can do 2 level 1 skills, which I don't see 2 of them up there to use, quite frankly. But this is where maybe the smoke would be good.
The smoke maybe if you're gonna play a support DD, but really, like, if you want to stop at 10 points, then I would say take adrenaline rush, and you have BFT. Adrenaline rush will really boost your DPM.
Yeah, see, I like expert marksman and adrenaline rush. So this would be my average low tier. IGN, I'd switch basic fire training for torp reload. But other than that, these 2 first lines, you think that would be a good one? Yeah, and Swole, it is. Tier 5 and under. Yeah, nothing over that. Nothing over that. And we're talking destroyers only here. Yeah, we've already done battleships, cruisers. Yeah, and again, the smoke screen, I thought about that, but how many tier 3 or 4 or even 5 destroyers think enough about the battleships or cruisers to provide smoke for them? I mean, let's be realistic here. How many people actually consider playing like a team and helping out a cruiser or battleship that needs smoke protection? I think that number is disappointingly low. Right? I mean, it's hard enough for us when we go in as a division to get that. Well, except for Rob. He does it all the time. Yeah, and right. How many times have you put smoke out and the battleship's driven right through it? Yeah, so we can. I think the extra smoke at low tier, it's nice, but I don't think it's necessary, personally. Yeah, and with the BFT, right, yeah. All right, so this would be your basic destroyer. So the person who asked about what do I do for my Campbelltown, there you go. Are we all cool with that? Everybody happy?
I don't think BFT is a good option for 3 for destroyer, in my opinion.
Well,
I think it is because most low-tier destroyers don't have, other than IGNs, they don't have range on their torps, so they're not going to be firing torps anyway. They're going to be shooting.
I understand, but BFT doesn't extend the range. It decreases your reload time.
yeah, that's just for reload. Yeah. Yeah, you'd have to go with advanced fire training to get extended range. Yeah, Daywalker, I was just getting ready to do that. You were asking about why not take reduction and incapacitation of modules. Again, a low-tier destroyer jockey typically experiences catastrophic fire on them. And I mean not fire in the terms of something burning. I mean several ships surround him. He gets in, pushes in too deep, and to have a consumable like that, improve your consumables, I just don't think there's enough time. I mean, you know, a low-tier destroyer, as far as I'm concerned, needs to rely on last stand as much as he can, or she can. And if he goes beyond that, I don't think they're going to live anyway. It's, you know, they're going to eat a torp, or, you know, they're not going to have time to use the basics of survivability, which I think is what you're suggesting, right? Use basics of survivability. And then we have the line 2-1 here. The reload time. I mean, I'm just thinking about someone who kind of is learning not to go in too deep, too quickly. And, you know, the destroyer that he comes across that he can shoot at, if he has BFT and expert marksman, I don't know, it just seems to me you have the best chance of making it. All right. Well, Weaselmeister, if you're in a Campbelltown and you're using it as a torp boat, then don't use basic fire training. Use torpedo armament expertise. Yeah, again, this line is subjective. I mean, whether you want superintendent, whether you want basic fire training, or whether you want torpedo armament expertise, it depends on the. That's very highly dependent on the ship you're in. But yeah, IJN, definitely torpedo armament. Anything else, BFT. And I mean, you've got last stand, so that's going to help you as much as it can. So we can pretty much agree then that this would be. Yeah, I mean, that, Mr. Swell, that's a good point. You know, it does save you very, very little. But again, we're trying to look at the average player who gets himself into a gunfight. And he shouldn't be. Like a Japanese destroyer gets stuck in a gunfight. You know, maybe he ought to go with BFT. That's what I started doing. But.
Yeah, no, I think Swole's talking about not taking torp reload speed, because you're not going to get that many more.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Well, that's true. Yeah, this is for the guy that's learned how to stay stealthy. You know, and all he's doing is going around the outside of the map trying to pick off battleships. And I think that's a specialty skill which is not necessary. So, yeah, maybe even with IGN, stick with BFT. Yeah, let me reverse myself on that. So, yeah, let's assume that you haven't learned how to work your detectability at a lower tier, which you probably haven't. So, yeah, BFT, I think, would be it all the way across. For a 10-point captain. Yeah. All right, so are we cool? Yeah, right. Right. I hear you, Swole. I hear you, man. All right, so this would be your basic low tier only. Again, we're sticking, you know, below tier 5 for a destroyer. So, again, thank you, Ship Comrade, for coming up with this great thing that we can discuss and talk about and not have to spend a bunch of doubloons playing with it. All right, so again, you can save this just by clicking on the build URL here. And as you get more points, obviously you're gonna want to redistribute it. But what I was trying to do was come up with something where you could use it tier 2, 3, 4, and then maybe spend some doubloons and change it around for 5, 6, 7, and then change it around again. I mean, you're not going to keep the same build all the way through. There's no way. If you go from tier 2 up through tier 10 in the IGN line, you are going to change these things eventually. You've got to. So, yeah, this is really a nice setup here to allow you to do as much as you can, considering what tier you're at. And thanks again, Ship Comrade. This is just fantastic. And more importantly, thanks for keeping this thing up to date. I mean, Ship Comrade had the new arrangement, which was changed off on the public test server immediately. So all of the skills shown here were updated incredibly fast, and I personally appreciate that a lot. I know other people do too. So good job, Ship Comrade. Way to go.